Well, how smart cities are getting ever smarter. Here to speak with us today about that, Mike Guilfoyle, Research Director at ARC Advisory Group. Well, Mike, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Mike, I think it's probably fair to say that energy efficiency, reliability, and certainly cost are major focus areas for smart city initiatives. So I guess the question that I would put to you is, are there any innovative ways that these areas are being handled? If so, walk us through.
Absolutely. I think a great example is the Brooklyn microgrid. It's really built around financial innovation. So it's not really the technology itself driving the change, it's the creative thinking around financing and choice of how people use and consume energy. So the state of New York has, of course, supported what's called transactive energy. That's the ability of people to buy, sell, and trade energy and energy-related services. Now, the community wants much more local control of how that happens. So the utility, of course, is providing centralized generation if needed and is maintaining the grid. But the community itself and members of that community are using Bitcoin to buy, sell, and trade energy. So it's really their desire for choice. And what they're doing is simply using digital transformation technology like Bitcoin and distributed energy to support that creativity.
Well, no doubt that's a fascinating initiative, but I guess the first question to any consumer is going to ask is this going to benefit my pocketbook in any kind of way? Is it in fact cheaper for them to consume by dint of this initiative or no?
It can be, yes, absolutely. So, of course, the more resources that get in there, the more choice you have, and the more choice drives down the cost of that energy within the overall structure of the energy itself.
Are there any other examples where utilities are much more involved, much more directly involved in these so-called smart city initiatives?
Absolutely. So one thing to qualify, even in that initial Brooklyn microgrid example, the profit motive for the utility is never going to be taken away. That's never going to be compromised. And that's very important because it's a long-standing model built on the utility and how they capitalize their assets. But another way that they're doing it still around financial creativity is looking at, I believe it's Montgomery County in Maryland, Duke Energy, and Schneider Electric. So the county wants a microgrid because they need 24/7 generation, secure, reliable in case something occurs around two very key installations. One's an emergency management installation, and another one is a correctional facility. So typically, this county, and many counties like them, they simply don't have the capital to invest in this. So what they're doing is they've gotten this very creative financial contract with Duke and Schneider to make sure that they can do that. So Duke takes on the construction, builds the microgrid, and owns it. Montgomery County, of course, gets the benefit of that generation to secure their objectives around their two facilities. And then Schneider Electric comes in with the digital service, which is microgrid as a service. They operate and maintain it using data-driven maintenance. It's really creative, and I think you're going to see a lot more of these types of initiatives, both on the community level, like the Brooklyn microgrid, and on the utility traditional level, a la Montgomery County's microgrid.
But if I understand correctly, from the get-go, they do not have to invest in the construction themselves.
Not only do they not have to invest in it, they can't afford it.
Well, these are two very different examples here. So I guess my question would be, what does this say overall about where smart cities and utilities are headed? Where are they going? What would you say?
Well, first of all, I think it shows a couple things. You look at financial constraints, those have to be overcome. How are you going to do that? You look at consumer choice, that has to be supported. How are you going to do that? The greatest thing about this is it's not the technology that's solving the problem. It's not the impetus of the problem solving. It's the creativity of people, be it in the traditional utility structure or in a local community. And then they simply look at the technology to solve that problem in terms of the process and the benefits coming to fruition. I think you'll continue to see more and more of these types of innovative thinking around energy in smart cities.
Interesting overview. Mike, I know you're busy here, but you found time to speak with us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
It's Mike Guilfoyle, ARC Advisory Group, speaking with us today about energy generation consumption in smart cities. Thank you for watching.